All right, let's jump right in. I want you to forget everything you think you know about what a high IQ looks like. We're not talking about test scores or just memorizing a bunch of facts. Instead, we're going to uncover the subtle, almost invisible habits that show how a brilliant mind really, truly works. These are the patterns that are often hiding in plain sight.
So that brings me to a question for you, and I want you to really think about it. Are you smarter than you think you are? It's a serious question, because real intelligence, well, it often shows up in ways we just don't expect.
And you know what? We're going to find out together. As we go through these 10 habits, just keep a running score in your head. For every single one you recognize in yourself, give yourself a point. Be honest, though. At the end, we'll see how it all adds up.
Okay, let's start with part 1. This is all about your inner world, the internal landscape, how a high IQ mind actually manages itself from the inside.
First up, habit number 1, brutal self-honesty. Now think about it. When something goes wrong, what's our first instinct? For a lot of people, it's to look for someone else to blame. But this habit is about that rare ability to stop, look inward and say, you know what, that was my fault. And listen, this isn't about beating yourself up, not at all. It's about taking ownership. The logic is so simple but so powerful. You just can't fix a problem you refuse to even see. This is the real starting line for any kind of growth.
Next up, habit number 2 is a craving for silence. For so many of us, silence is just awkward. It's something to be filled with music, podcasts, anything. But for a highly analytical mind, silence is a tool. It's in those quiet moments that all the mental chaos starts to get organized. New connections are formed, and these brilliant insights just seem to pop into your head out of nowhere. It's not emptiness, it's a workshop for the mind.
And that need for quiet space leads right into this next crucial habit. Habit number 3 is a big one. They manage their energy, not their time. Let that sink in for a second. We're all so obsessed with our calendars and our clocks, right? But this is a completely different way of thinking, and honestly, it's a total game changer when it comes to doing deep, meaningful work.
And this comparison chart, well, it lays it out perfectly. The conventional approach on the left is all about brute force, right? Scheduling every single hour, trying to force productivity into a rigid box. But the high IQ approach, that's about finesse. It's about knowing when your brain is at its absolute sharpest. Maybe that's super early in the morning for you, or maybe it's late at night, and then fiercely protecting that time. It's about flowing with your brain's natural rhythm instead of constantly fighting against it.
Okay, let's move on to our next section. Let's see how all this internal management translates to how these folks interact with the world and the people around them. So habit number 4, they think more and they talk less. You know that person who's really quiet in a meeting? Don't ever mistake that for shyness. What's actually happening is a process you could call mental editing. They're running the conversation in their head first, filtering, refining, and structuring their thoughts before a single word comes out. And that is why when they finally do speak, their words land with so much more impact. This idea flows perfectly into habit number 5, which is captured by this fantastic quote, "Real genius isn't about seeming smart, but making others feel smart." Seriously, think about the most brilliant people you've ever met. They don't use complicated jargon to try and impress you. No, they have this incredible knack for taking a really complex idea and making it feel simple. That's where raw intelligence meets emotional intelligence. It's about making knowledge accessible to everyone, not keeping it locked away. All right, for our final section, we are going deep. We're looking at the mental operating system itself, the unique processing engine that drives this whole different way of thinking.
These next 4 habits are really the core of that engine. First, at number 6, they question everything. And not to be difficult or to win arguments, but because they have this deep, genuine need to understand things from the ground up. Then number 7, they're obsessed with patterns. Where most of us see just random stuff happening, they see connections, they see systems. And that allows them to predict what's going to happen next with some pretty scary accuracy. Next is number 8. They read from mental models, not just for information. They're not just trying to finish a book. They're trying to pull out the underlying framework so they can use it to solve totally different problems later on. It's like cross-training for your brain. And finally, number 9. They solve unassigned problems. They just can't help it. They see an inefficient line at the coffee shop and their mind immediately starts redesigning the whole process, just for fun. To them, the whole world is a mental playground.
And that brings us to our final habit, number 10. Now, from the outside, this might look a lot like overthinking, but it's something else entirely. They think in layers, not in anxious circles. It's structured, it's strategic.
So here's how it works. Think of it like a game of mental chess.
Step 1, they imagine all the possible outcomes of a decision, the good, the bad, the ugly. Step 2, they mentally walk down each path and they troubleshoot it, looking for every potential flaw and fixing it in their head. And then finally, step 3, they take all of that complexity and they boil it down to one simple, strong plan. See, the key here is that this isn't anxiety. This is deep analytical preparation.
And that's all 10 of them. So, now it's time for the final count. Take a second, add up your points. What's your score out of 10? I'm actually really curious to see what you got, so if you feel like sharing, go ahead and drop your number in the comments.
But hey, whatever your score is, I want to leave you with this one final thought. At the end of the day, this isn't about getting a high score or putting a label on yourself.